I felt a slight tremor in my hand as I repositioned my phone on the car's dashboard. My mother's voice, perfectly clear through the speaker, was oblivious to my presence, as I was on my way to fetch her for a family dinner, which should have been a happy occasion. To be truthful, Jess, I can't figure out why you asked Alyssa to come this time. My mother made a disdainful noise to my sister. She's simply a source of funds these days. She doesn't merit being treated like she's one of us. Just act friendly, agree with her, and she'll pay for everything like always. My heart plummeted, my chest muscles clenching as if I'd been physically winded. Tears welled up in my eyes, and I quickly blinked them away, my hands clenching hard on the steering wheel. It seemed as though the world had changed in an instant. My own mother, the woman who used to sing me to sleep as a kid, who was thrilled for me at my graduation, was now talking about me like I was simply a cash machine. The line went quiet for a moment, and then crackled again as Jess responded hesitantly. "Mom, she is still family, you can't talk like that." "Family?" My mother's laugh was harsh and mean, cutting through the quiet like broken glass. "Family is there when you need them, not only when you want money. Let's just get through the evening, pretend we actually care, and then forget it ever happened." I felt like I couldn't breathe. My car suddenly felt horribly small. I pulled over and parked, grabbing my chest and struggling to breathe as the tears started flowing, scalding my face. I had spent ages without a second thought, giving and giving, always putting on a smile and quietly footing the bill for their meals, vacations, doctor visits, everything they needed. I never uttered a word of complaint, thinking my kindness was recognized, that it had some value. But right then, the raw truth hit me with a sudden, unforgiving clarity. I took a shaky breath and looked at my reflection in the mirror. My eye makeup was running down my heated cheeks, but my eyes were blazing with purpose, shining more brightly than ever. The gullible girl they had taken advantage of was gone, and in her place was a woman who finally understood her own value. "Okay, Mom," I whispered to myself, my voice shaking with both pain and a fresh determination. "If that's really how you see things, then I swear I'll make you regret every single dollar you took from me." Still, even with the rage inside me, I wasn't only feeling bitterness. Underneath that feeling was a want for fairness mixed with empathy, a desperate need to not only regain my self-respect, but perhaps, somehow, fix my broken family as well. Revenge wasn't about being cruel, it was about showing them the importance of what they'd forgotten. She'd figure out a way, no matter the challenges. Composing herself, I wiped away my tears, restarted the car, and continued my drive to the restaurant, my heart pounding with determination. This evening marked the start of something new, and I was finally going to be the one in charge. As I walked into the restaurant, my family was already settled at the table, their smiles perfectly in place. My mother presented her usual image of self-assurance, completely oblivious to the fact that her casual remarks had wounded me terribly just a little while ago. "Alyssa, darling," my mom said in a fake tone, rising to hug me as if nothing was wrong. "You look fantastic, as usual." I stood stiffly during the hug, every part of me wanting to pull away, to scream, to challenge her. Yet I controlled my emotions, smiled weakly, and nodded. "Thanks, Mom." My sister Jess gave me a cautious, almost apologetic look but remained quiet. I knew Jess had tried to help, but right now apologies wouldn't suffice. I needed tangible evidence, proof that my family was capable of change. The dinner dragged on, a painful performance of forced laughter and pointless conversations, the atmosphere heavy with unspoken feelings. I paid the bill silently as usual, enduring my mother's condescending smirk when I reached for it, making me feel worthless all over again. I plastered on a smile this time, carefully considering what to do next. When the evening concluded, I found myself outside, observing my family depart without so much as a look back. Jess paused, staying behind the others. "Alyssa, are you all right?" I answered quietly, my voice calm and assured. "But I will be." Jess averted her gaze, nodding slowly as if in agreement. "I'm sorry for what you overheard." "It's okay." "Really," I stated, the strength in my voice clear as a bell. "But things are shifting, Jess. I'm finished with being taken advantage of." Jess's eyes grew wider, maybe surprised by the quiet conviction in my voice. "What do you plan to do?" I paused, my gaze drifting to my mother, who was now vanishing into her fancy car, entirely uncaring about my suffering. "I'm going to ensure Mom understands what family is truly about." Spinning around, I left Jess standing there, shocked, under the restaurant's bright neon signs. My choice was made. I wouldn't go back. I would remind my family what they had forgotten, not through spite or hatred, but with strength, dignity, and the kindness they no longer valued, yet desperately needed. As I got back into the car, I took a deep breath, feeling better even though the hurt in my heart still lingered. This wasn't just about getting even, it was about making things right, and I was ready for whatever came next. When I opened my eyes the next day, the sun was already up, its light filtering through the drapes and bathing my determined features in a golden glow. Even though my mother's hurtful comments still bothered me, making my chest ache, I felt a strange serenity. It seemed like those unkind words had sparked a newfound courage, a strength I hadn't tapped into for a while. I resolved that the day would be different. Today, I planned to finally take back the respect and self-worth I'd been handing out without a second thought, blindly, for such a long time. Entering the busy cafe close to my workplace, I looked around, absorbing the lively conversations, the rich smell of coffee that was swirling all around me in a pleasurable way. Recognizing a familiar face at the corner table, I walked over there without hesitation. "Good morning, Alyssa," said Thomas Drake, my reliable financial advisor, as he stood up politely, shaking my hand with a warm greeting. He had always been dependable, a constant source of advice throughout my successful years. Even so, I knew that our talk today would be a major turning point. "Thank you for meeting me on such short notice," I began gently, sitting down in the comfortable leather seat across from him. "Of course," Thomas answered, his eyebrows slightly creased with concern. "You sounded worried when you called. Is everything okay?" For a brief moment, I stopped talking, remembering my mother's harsh laughter, and it threatened to make me lose my calm. "No, it's not," I said, my voice trembling just a little. "I've come to the conclusion that my family has been taking advantage of me for ages. I've always provided everything they desired, never expecting anything in return. It's been met with disrespect, no gratitude, absolutely nothing." Thomas showed his understanding with a nod, his eyes full of concern. "I get it, Alyssa," he said. "Family relationships can be tough, but you're truly a kind-hearted person." "Don't ever forget that," he added. "That's precisely the problem," I interjected with feeling. "I still want to be generous and considerate, but I absolutely need to create some limits. I'm hoping you'll help me make a few changes in a way that's under the radar and effective." Thomas listened intently, sensing the shift in my attitude. "I'm all ears," he replied. I took a deep breath, trying to calm down. "I plan on reorganizing my money matters. I won't be using my credit cards so freely anymore, nor will I write checks as readily. I need specific limits, controlled spending for medical or urgent needs only. If my family really needs assistance, I'll always be there, but no more expensive meals, trips, or shopping sprees. They'll start to understand the real value of what I offer going forward." Thomas agreed slowly, impressed. "That's a courageous step," he said. "Boundaries are critical, Alyssa." "It's about respecting myself," I responded with a slight smile, a newfound determination in my gaze. "Exactly. And I'd like you to assist me in creating a new charitable foundation, something that has purpose, that really makes a difference." Thomas gave me a warm smile, his features showing clear admiration. "I've finished. I'll get everything ready right away. You're being really courageous." Alyssa murmured it was necessary, and resolve shone in her eyes. They need to learn that being nice isn't a flaw, it's power. As the day wore on, I felt more in control than I ever had. By the time the evening arrived, the plan was put into action. I was in my comfy apartment, drinking tea and thinking about what I'd decided. When my phone vibrated, the screen showed my mother's face, which now felt strange. I paused for a moment, but eventually answered. "Hi, Mom." I responded calmly, striving to keep my voice even. "Alyssa, darling," my mother said in a sweet, smooth tone. "I was thinking about our yearly family getaway. Maybe we could reserve the villa in Tuscany again. The weather should be beautiful at this time of year. And of course, we'd all love for you to join us." I took a pause, feeling a slight catch in my breath. It would be simple, even appealing, to give in again, to overlook my pain, to act like I hadn't heard my mother's hurtful words. But I wouldn't fall back into those old habits. "Actually, Mom," I started gently but firmly, "I've decided not to go on the family vacation this year." Mom's lack of response was incredibly loud. The shock on the other end of the line was obvious. "But Alyssa, why on earth would you do something like that? After all, you're always on top of everything. Yes, I answered quietly, a mix of sorrow and resolve in my voice. I am, though I think now it's time I focused on my own needs for a change. My mother's tone shifted, losing its previous warmth. What exactly is all this about? I took a steadying breath, my pulse quickening. It's about dignity, Mom, about feeling appreciated. Not simply as a source of money, but as a member of the family. The silence from my mother seemed to last forever, the strain palpable through the connection. At last, Mom let out an impatient breath, her tone becoming dismissive. You're overreacting, Alyssa. We'll talk about this later. No, Mom. I stated firmly, my voice firm and steady. We won't. My choice is made. Without waiting for a response, I gently ended the call, my heart beating wildly in my chest. It hurt, yet it was also thrilling. It was my first real limit. But I felt deep inside that I had done the right thing. The upcoming few weeks completely changed me. I quietly put the new financial boundaries into effect. Instead of giving my money to family, I gave to important local causes. Each little win felt amazing, slowly erasing the resentment I'd held ever since I'd overheard Mom's hurtful comments. Even while things were going well for me, I still couldn't get rid of the pain. I craved real forgiveness from my family, who I still cared for deeply. Then one stormy night, I heard a knock on my door that caught me off guard. I opened it, surprised to see Jess standing there, drenched from the downpour with wide, sorry eyes. Alyssa, Jess whispered, tears blending with the rain running down her face. We have to chat. Mom, she gets what she lost now. I paused for a second, my heart beating fast, and then I slowly moved to the side to let Jess come inside. As we stood there, the water dripping onto the floor, I saw honesty, sorrow, and a plea for help in my sister's eyes. Maybe, I thought, my heart hurting but still holding some hope. My family could still get better, but this time it would be on my own terms. Jess stood there, shaking a little, her eyes locked on me. She took a deep breath, being careful about what she said. Mom has finally figured out what she lost when you stopped providing all the money. At first she was mad, but now she's really upset, Alyssa. She's starting to comprehend things. I crossed my arms, a hesitant feeling in my eyes. Jess, I'm so over hearing meaningless apologies. I refuse to be manipulated anymore. Jess moved closer, a genuineness entering her voice. I understand you have every right to feel that way, but this is different. She's going through a tough time, and perhaps, just maybe, she's finally learning to value you. I let out a deep sigh, the feelings inside me battling each other. How can I believe that's accurate? Because she confessed it. Jess spoke with sincerity, and then she broke down. I've never witnessed her display this kind of emotion before. She comprehended that I'm the force that keeps us together, not just in terms of money, but also emotionally. Our family would fall apart if I wasn't around. Those sentiments resonated within Alyssa, touching her deepest desire for our family to reconcile. She paused, then finally agreed. I'll speak with her, but Jess, things have to alter and they have to change significantly. I promised they would, Jess quietly said, and she seemed so relieved. I couldn't help but hope that maybe compassion, not resentment, would ultimately heal the pain. 2 days after that, I was sitting opposite my mother in a quiet corner of our usual coffee shop. She looked exhausted and vulnerable. It was a far cry from the confident woman I had always known. I've caused you pain, she started softly, her eyes filling with actual regret. And I'm embarrassed. I let my selfishness cloud my love. I treated you poorly, and I completely understand if you can never forgive me. I struggled to keep my emotions in check, and tears began to form. Mom, I just wanted to be appreciated, not for my wealth, but because I'm your daughter. She slowly nodded, and tears ran down her face. I was blind. I believed money was security, but I pushed away the most important thing. My child, I'm truly sorry. For the first time in many months, a genuine feeling of warmth came back to me. I really hope we can find a way to mend our relationship, she said softly. However, going back to the past is out of the question. I've got limits in place now, Mom. I won't let myself be taken advantage of anymore. I get it, her mom responded, her voice shaking with how truthful she sounded. All I'm asking is an opportunity to demonstrate that. It's not about getting anything from me, but because I really miss my child. Alyssa gently took her mother's hand, reaching out to her. She felt a little less weighed down, and a sense of healing started to happen inside. So let's make a fresh start together. Outside, the overcast sky began to clear, with the sun shining brightly, almost like what was happening between them. Alyssa knew forgiving wouldn't be easy, but understanding could possibly mend their fractured family. After that significant talk, Alyssa noticed some minor but significant shifts in how her mother acted. She stopped calling solely to ask for things or for financial help. Instead, she actually started asking questions about what was going on in my life, what I was interested in, and how I felt. Little things, which used to not mean much, now gave their time together a feeling of genuineness and affection. One day, I got an unexpected invitation from my mother to have dinner together, and this time, it was at her more humble home. I paused for just a second as the unpleasant memories were still vivid, but I finally agreed to go. Maybe tonight could become a genuine turning point. When I got there, I was hit by the familiar smell of her cooking. The vibe inside was different. Mellow tunes filled the air, candles cast a warm glow on the table, and my mom stood in the kitchen entrance, a nervous but gentle smile on her face. "I'm so glad you're here," she murmured, her eyes radiating honesty. I echoed her sentiment quietly, starting to allow myself to feel optimistic. The dinner was lovely, not extravagant, but filled with consideration and authenticity. The discussion was easygoing, full of honest laughter and fond recollections. I found myself unwinding, letting go of the strain with every second that passed. As we finished eating, Mom reached across the table and gently squeezed my hand. "I need to tell you something significant. For years, I didn't see how profoundly I damaged you. You deserved appreciation for your kindness, not for being taken advantage of. I swear I'll never undervalue your generosity or love again." Tears started to well up in my eyes. I ultimately felt understood, not just as a way to get money, but as a daughter. "That means the world to me, Mom," I mumbled, my voice choked with emotion. "All I ever desired was your love." "You've always had it," my mother said sincerely. "I just forgot how to show it." In that moment, I understood that my quiet vengeance wasn't just about regaining my self-respect. It had changed into something more significant, a genuine chance at healing for both of us. When I departed that night, my heart felt lighter than it had in years. I knew building trust and mending wounds would be a process, but the initial, real step had finally been taken. For the coming months, my interactions with my family transformed into something completely different. Though the limits I'd set still held firm, the inherent compassion and giving nature I possessed resurfaced. This time, it felt truly valued and never taken advantage of. One bright afternoon, I welcomed my family to the unveiling of the charity I'd established. It was designed to assist struggling families as they began anew. I stood at the entry with a sense of accomplishment, observing everyone socializing, and a feeling of immense happiness filled my chest. My mom came over, her eyes softly glistening. "You've created something really remarkable," she said kindly, her face showing clear respect. I gave a gentle smile. "It's about helping others, about compassion, expecting nothing in return." "That's always been the plan for me," my mom agreed, her voice full of honesty. "I'm so proud of you, Alyssa. You've shown me what true generosity really is. I'll never forget." Someone from the family joined us, putting arms around us, very friendly. "You've altered us more than you realize." ALYSSA, the true feeling in their eyes banished any remaining resentment I carried. I had succeeded in my goal, not by seeking revenge, but through fortitude, empathy, and consistent kindness. My subdued victory wasn't just about getting back what was rightfully hers. It was also about helping my loved ones find love and respect for each other once again. As the evening faded and everyone went home, I quietly thought about my personal experience. I saw that the conversation I'd accidentally heard, the awful event that had destroyed my sense of self, had, oddly enough, turned into something amazing. It made me become tougher, more insightful, and more compassionate. The biggest thing was that it brought my family back together in the most important way. In that quiet time of thinking things over, I really did appreciate everything I'd lived through. I had taught my family something very important. Being kind and showing respect didn't mean you were weak, but that you were deeply strong. And finally, I was aware that I'd no longer be viewed simply as someone with money. Instead, I was cherished for the real me,